John, I wanted to bring you in here because you work with a lot of customers and they adopt your technology. So how do your customers see benefits?
Yeah, and so one of the key themes that we've seen is that people want to figure out, how can I make this be something that I can build into my operations, and how can I do this continuously and scalably? Certainly, I think all of us who've had kids are familiar with the challenge of telling our kids, like, you need to clean up your room. And that can be like, you need to clean up your cloud costs, you need to standardize your deployments. It's something that you get your kid to focus on for a weekend, and you make big progress, and then for the next 3 months they don't do anything to keep it clean, and so as a result it gets messy again very quickly. Costs are very similar. If you don't think about how to build this into your operations, it's something that you might focus on for a point in time, improve, and then you don't reap those benefits and continue to maintain those benefits. So the set of technologies and tools that we've assembled as a portfolio is really focused on, how do I embed this into your operations so that you're continuously optimizing across those different dimensions and meeting those requirements. So whether that's thinking about, how do I actually optimize the infrastructure? How do I think about where I choose reserved instances, spot instances, savings plans, things like that? How do I think about the ways that I think about these processes that are needed to automate and make operations more efficient? Things like decisions around scaling, things like simplifying deployment, things like how do I do that across all the different dimensions I have? And then how do I do that specifically for my applications? How do I make sure that I'm deploying them efficiently? How do I make sure that I can actually scale that out? How do I make sure that I can modernize those, but still be conscious of doing that in a cost-efficient way that also meets those security requirements, that also ensures that I can do this repeatably in governed ways across all of my environments? So our suite works across, whether you're working with VMs directly and trying to figure out how to optimize your purchasing of those and the price plans you use, to whether you're using platforms such as Kubernetes, to, if you're thinking about how to make your teams more efficient, to if you're thinking about, how are you actually building and operating these applications in the cloud, open source and other types of applications. That's really what our suite has been built for. And an important part of this is, how do you do this in a consistent way across all of your environments? Whether it's all of your environments within one cloud provider, or all of your environments across multiple cloud providers. So we're giving people a way to simplify the number of different tools that they need to use to be able to embed this operational continuous optimization into their environments. So that those are the conversations that we've been finding with customers are a very important part about how they're thinking about this going forward.
Fantastic. I really like the analogy of telling the children to clean the room, although ours never listen. And they feel that it's okay to be messy until they don't find the thing that they want, right? So before the CFO comes knocking on your door and asks for that thing, that's when you start to clean up. So it's better to start early and think about embedding that in your thought process, right? And you also mentioned Kubernetes. I think that's one thing we're beginning to hear a lot more from the C-suite, where they say the container cost management is even more complex. So once we start that journey, there's so much benefit that is to be had in that environment. So if we can extend our FinOps capabilities seamlessly into the container environment, it'll be hugely beneficial. Do we have to learn something new for that? So it was great to see you touch on that as well.